Chairperson, we are live when you're ready to go.
Thank you. If I could get the members of the committee to come on screen, please. Thank you. I have heard, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Committee of Adjustment for this Monday, November the 1st at 6 p.m. I have heard from Mr. Townend and Ms. Porter that they will not be in attendance this evening. I am expecting Mr. Gordon to join us shortly. I was speaking to him just a few minutes ago, so he should be here, but I think we can get started, and I'm sure he will join us shortly. This is an electronic meeting, so I'll remind everyone that the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act, Council's Rules of Procedure, Code of Conduct, and other pertinent legislation apply to these proceedings as if they were this was an in-person meeting. If any member of the committee's internet connection or access to the virtual meeting is interrupted, I will ask that we pause for a moment to allow that member to reconnect. And if we have, assuming we still have quorum, after a few minutes, we will continue even in their absence. So with that, I believe we have called to order. So we are at the adoption of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Right. Is there any additions to the agenda from staff? I'm hearing none. Oh, there's
no committee chair, there's not.
Thank you. Okay. So can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Mr. Buderix, so moved. Second by Ms. Parks. Thank you. Okay. Any comment? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof? Seeing none, we'll move forward to the approval of the Committee of Adjustment minutes from October the 4th. We have the minutes before us. Are there any noted errors or omissions? None noted. And can I get a motion to approve those minutes then? I'll take Mr. Hagedorn, second by Ms. Parks. And any comment? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. So we come to our first public meeting. Item 5.1 is D13-008-2021 for 1949 County Road 6. And I believe Ms. Furness has a presentation on it. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is an application for minor variance for property located at 1949 County Road 6. The property contains an existing dwelling, and the applicants are requesting variances to construct a detached garage that's slightly closer to the street line than the main dwelling, as well as to increase the permitted height of the garage from 4 meters to 5.3 meters. We should note that the circulated notice for this application did contain a minor error in that a height of 6 meters was requested instead of 5.3. However, we feel that this was minor and didn't warrant a recirculation, as the height is being requested is actually slightly less than what was previously noted. The official plan has the property designated as rural with some environmentally sensitive lands, which is attributed to some contributory woodlands on the property. The residential use of the property is recognized in both the county official plan, township official plan, and the provincial policy statement. And the CRCA has confirmed that the location of the garage is outside of where the contributory woodlands are. So they were satisfied and have no concerns with the application. So as a result, staff feel it meets the intent of the official plan. The property is zoned rural in the zoning bylaw, and the zoning bylaw does not permit an accessory structure to be located in front of the house or to be closer to the road than the house. However, in this case, we feel that locating it in the front would not be noticeable or negatively affect the streetscape in any way, because the road has a slight curve along the frontage. And the angle of the house to the roadway, actually in appearance, where it would be located would appear that it aligns with the house, which is what the applicant's intent is, and it'll visually appear that way. So we, for that reason, we feel it meets the intent of the zoning bylaw. The height's being requested to match the existing height and pitch of the residence to create a aesthetically symmetrical house and garage. And so for these reasons, we feel that that variance meets the intent of the zoning as well. Staff are also of the opinion that the variances are appropriate and desirable development, as the accessory structure is in keeping with the residential nature of the property and will not have any impacts on the streetscape or to any neighboring properties. And we are of the opinion that it's considered minor for essentially the same reasons, and it'll better align aesthetically with the main dwelling. And so staff are recommending approval of this application. Thank you.
Thank you. And at the beginning of your presentation, I did note that Mr. Gordon had joined us in the attendees. Is the clerk able to bring him over into being a panelist now?
I do not see him under attendees.
He was there. I'm not sure where he went. Yeah.
I'll
Anyway,
try and keep an eye again.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that interruption, but thank you for the presentation, Ms. Furness. Does the committee have any questions? Any questions? At this time, I will turn to the public. This is a public meeting, and we ask that anyone who wishes to speak for or against this application that is in the audience has the ability to speak up now. And if you are in the audience and wish to speak to this application, we would request that you use the raise hand symbol to indicate your desire to speak. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak to this? I'm seeing none. To the clerk, are you seeing anyone?
I do not see anyone at this time.
Thank you. Then I will turn back to the committee. Committee, do we have any final questions with regard to this application? And then I'll look for a motion based on the recommendation. I'll go to Mr. Hagedorn. So moved.
Yes, receive and support, yes.
And thank you. Seconded by Mr. Buderick. And Mr. Hagedorn, any comment?
No comment, no concern.
Thank you. Mr. Buderick. Anyone else wish to make comment? And I'm seeing none. I will call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. And we will move to item 5.2, which is D13015-2020, 748 County Road 6. And turn it back to Ms. Furness.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is an application for minor variance for the township's public works garage site located on County Road 6. The public works garage is currently subject to an active site plan application that includes an addition to the public works garage, as well as storage areas and the development of cold storage buildings. So in the review of the site plan application process, there were a few zoning compliance issues that were raised that brought about this minor variance application. So this includes provisions for open storage, namely to allow open storage in one location to the front and the side of the main building, to reduce the open storage setback from 10 meters to 4.5 meters from the side lot line, and to reduce the setback from 10 meters to 3.8 meters to the rear lot line, as well as to permit open storage without screening when visible from the road. And I should note that that requirement is there is going to be a chain link fence proposed. However, it doesn't meet the zoning bylaw requirements, and that you can see through the chain link fence, and it's being requested for public safety reasons to avoid any theft. The last variance includes permitting open storage tanks to be located 0.4 meters from the main building rather than the required 2 meters. The property is designated environmental protection in the township's official plan due to the ANSI located on the property. So as a result, the Conservation Authority did require an environmental impact study to ensure that there weren't going to be any negative impacts to the features. And the impact study did result in favorable comments in regards to the preservation of the natural features, and the Conservation Authority is in support of the application. So staff are there for the opinion that the application meets the intent of the official plan. The property is zoned rural industrial in the zoning bylaw. The use is permitted, and the variances will legitimize some existing aggregate storage locations and allow for that new fence compound. There are no anticipated impacts to natural features, land uses, and public safety, and therefore staff feel it meets the intent of the zoning bylaw. The variances are considered to be appropriate development of the land, as there will be no anticipated impacts on adjacent land uses, and it'll serve to promote the intended public service use and functionality of the site. The variances are considered to be minor, as the developments in keeping with the existing use of the property, and due to the size of the property will not have a negative impact on the streetscape or natural heritage features. So as a result, staff are recommending approval of this application. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Committee, do we have any questions with regard to the presentation on this application? I'm seeing none. I'm also noting that I don't believe there's anyone in the audience other than one of our staff members at this time. I do have to formally make the call. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak for or against this application? Going once, going twice, going three times. Thank you. And back to the committee. If else there's any final comments, I would look for a motion. Anyone wish to make that motion? And I'll take Mr. Buderick, seconded by Mr. Gordon. Thank you. Okay. And any final comment? And I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried. We move forward to item 6.1, a decision with regard to D10-009-2020. And Ms. Furness, would you like to speak to this?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So this property received consent approval for a new lot back in January earlier this year. And in working to fulfill the severance conditions, they've had some difficulty obtaining the required well water quality testing parameters. And so as the committee is aware, we recently have updated our consent conditions for new applications to require a development agreement with a well water report that indicates the treatment options that need to be put in place, which would allow for compliance with the water quality parameters, as this was a severance done earlier this year before that was put into place. It's been being requested that this particular condition be changed to the ones that we're currently using to allow them to have their well water report prepared by the well technician and placed on title for new owners to meet the treatment requirements. And as this condition change is deemed to be minor, a circulation of the of this request wasn't required to be circulated to agencies or any other internal departments or the public as per the Planning Act. Thank you.
Thank you. This is a decision, so it's not technically a public meeting. So I will ask if the committee has any questions. No, fairly straightforward, updating it to the modern or the more recent well standards. Then I will look for a motion. And Mr. Hagedorn, do I have a seconder? Mr. Buderick, thank you. Any comments? Anyone? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor to receive and approve? Thank you. Any opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you. That is the extent of our decisions to make this evening, unless there is any other business. I'm seeing no other business. And our next meeting date is scheduled for December the 6th, 2021. And I will call for a motion to adjourn. Councillor Park, or Ms. Parks, thank you. Seconded by Mr. Gordon. Any comment? I'll call the question. All those in favor, please raise a hand. Any opposed? Motion is carried and we are adjourned. Thank you, folks. Have a great evening. For those who aren't sticking around, and for the committee of the whole, we'll see you in a few minutes.